Hey gang, what's up? Welcome back here to another edition of The Fishing Teacher, and thanks for checking out the video, much appreciated. And guys, today we're going to be sort of continuing our series. We're talking about baits that sort of work best situationally over other type baits. And today we're going to be talking about a popper, a chugger type popper. Now, if you guys are not familiar with the chuggers and the poppers, new to the channel, just getting started, a chugger has been around a long time. In fact, the guys that, I don't know if you've heard of the hula poppers, but the hula poppers have been around for like 80 years. And basically they're a floating lure that has some type of a concave face on it that when you push it, when you reel it through, or you jerk it through the water, it bloops. It goes bloop, bloop, and it throws out like an air bubble in front of it like that. It's a topwater category that's been around for a long time, and it's highly effective under certain situations. So today we're going to be talking about the poppers and the chugger. This is a Megabass Pop Max here. Also, if you guys would like to pick up a couple, I'll put the Baitworks link in the description. You guys can order them through that link there. But this is probably my favorite chugger right here. Now, most of them don't come with a feather, especially the older ones, but the newer models do. It doesn't really make that big of a difference to me. I've caught a bunch of fish with the feather and without it. So if there's one on there, fine. If not, it's no big deal to me. But anyway, the times that a chugger or a popper will outproduce any other topwater is when you have the fish concentrated in a small area. Now, most topwaters, if you're fishing a buzzbait or a walking type topwater, a whopper plopper, some type of topwater where you're casting it in and you're reeling it back at a pretty good face, you can cover a lot of water with that because you got to keep those baits moving. But the chugger or the popper like this, you can fish it as slow or as fast as you want to fish it. And my favorite way to fish it is to fish it really slow in small, tight areas. So for example, if I'm fishing between, like say there's two boat docks and there's maybe 50 foot of area between those two boat docks, and maybe there's like a little seawall or a riprap, this would be a perfect area where I've got only like 50 feet of water in front of me to fish. And I'll throw the popper out there, and depending upon the situation and the water temperature and everything about it, a lot of times what I'll do is I'll throw it out there and I'll bloop. I'll go bloop like that, and it'll go down and make a bloop. I let it float to the surface, and I let all the ripples disappear around it, you know, completely still. This bait works better under calmer conditions, a little popper does. But bloop it, let it sit still, bloop it again, let it sit still, and then maybe just barely twitch it like that where it doesn't really bloop, like it's almost like it's just sort of injured and it's trying to move it away. And a lot of times that's when those fish will hammer it. And more than not, it's like when you bloop it like that, the fish are going to hit it right about the time that the bubble or that the ripples disappear on there. So, excuse me, I should get all these allergies here. So when you bloop it in there, you have to fish it slow and you have to be patient with it because you're not talking about covering a big area. Most of the time, say for example, if you throw a popper into a shade line or down a rocky bank or something like that, a little bitty short section, if there's a bass there, most of the time they're gonna hit it, usually within the first 2 or 3 pops. Very seldom do I work it all the way back to the boat. So for example, what I'll do is I'll throw it up to the bank, I'll chug it off there, and I'll work it maybe no more than 5 feet. And if I don't get a bite, I'll reel it in and make another cast. Now, that works really good in calm conditions where you're letting it set still and letting the ripples dissipate. But if you have a chop on the water, you don't need to do that because it doesn't, there's no benefit to that. If you have a chop on the water, that's when you need to work it faster. So what I'll do is I'll throw it out there and I'll just keep chugging it just like that. I won't really stop it. And you can get this thing, it sort of walks sideways through the water like that, and I'm trying to create the disturbance. The faster that I work it and the harder that I jerk it down, the louder the noise makes when you pop it down in there. So say for example, if you're fishing more open water and you're popping it through there and the water's a little bit choppy, you know, you're throwing water, you're spitting water, you're making a lot of noise, and it'll pull those fish farther away to find the bait in that little bit of chop. Now, obviously a popper or any other topwater is going to work better on cloudy days. So best time to use it in the summertime is like early in the morning, late in the evening, or on those type of cloudy days. That's when you're going to get more bites on it. I haven't really seen topwater, the chuggers, the color makes that much difference, because some of the best chuggers I've ever used are the ones where I've used them so much the paint's all scraped off and it's a color they've never seen before. So you don't really have to get that caught up on the color with it like that. You definitely want to use monofilament line. A chugger, if you use fluorocarbon or braided line, it doesn't work as good. So I usually use 12 to 14 pound test monofilament, and also make sure that you don't put too big of hooks on it, because if you try to upgrade the hooks and put larger hooks on them, it'll sink the bait a little bit more and it doesn't get as good an action. And also the Pop Max, it doesn't come with a little split ring, but I usually like to put a split ring right on the nose of it there, because I just think that gives it a little bit more freedom of movement, a little bit better action with that. But anyway, guys, chuggers, poppers are one of the best summertime lures that you can fish. Fish them in shady areas, fish them slow on calm conditions, speed them up if it's a little bit choppier, and it's a good way to catch a bunch of bass all summer long. So hope it helps. We'll see you guys.